All the Undudes by MsKingBean89, Chapter 98, 6th Year, Halloween. Tuesday, 26th October 1976. Boarding the Hogwarts Express in September. Listening to David Bowie. Listening to T-Rex. Christmas at the Potters. Winning a game of chess. Starting a new book. Finishing a book. Grant's voice on the phone. A perfectly executed prank. Beaten Sirius at history. Beaten Sirius at anything. Running through the forest at full pelt with Padfoot. Sirius Black's smile. Snogging Sirius. Ugh, focus! Remus muttered angrily to himself as he stalked through the corridors towards the hospital wing. A group of first-year Slytherins who happened to be walking past jumped at his outburst, then scurried away whispering. Oh, great, Remus thought. Bet Snape's already told them all about Loony Lupin. Talking to yourself will really help. He was on his way to his first study session with Madame Pomfrey and the students putting themselves forward for ELA training and using the spare time to list all of his very happiest memories. Only one memory in particular kept interrupting. If my Patronus is a black dog, he told himself, I'll have to leave Hogwarts forever and never show my face again. Hello, Remus. What are you doing here? He had reached the hospital wing now and found Marlene waiting outside, smiling at him, clutching a large textbook to her chest. Hiya, he smiled back. I'm here for healing lessons. Oh, wow! I had no idea you wanted to be a healer, she beamed. Well, yeah, I was just interested. How about you? Oh, yes, it's all I've ever wanted to be, she said, proudly. Remus tried not to look too taken aback. That felt like the sort of thing he ought to know about his friends. But then, Marlene had always been a bit more private than Lily or Mary. Secretly, Remus had always had a special fondness for Marlene. She was quiet and shy, like he was, less abrasive than Mary and less bossy than Lily. He remembered once, in a moment of confusion at the age of 13, having decided to fancy her. That embarrassed him now, but he had a good feeling that if he told her, she'd see the humour in it. Actually, now that he thought about it, Marlene had the inherent good nature and sensible attitude that probably suited a healer. Besides this, during Madame Pomfrey's lesson, Marlene was clearly the standout student. She seemed to know half the spells already, and the Meadow Witch approvingly told her she had a natural gift. Marlene flushed with pride at this, and Remus realised it was the first time he'd seen her so confident. She had always seemed too unsure of herself before. Blimey, I should start taking lessons from you, he said, as they left the sick bay later that evening. Oh, shut up, she grinned, bashfully. You'll be running rings around me once you had the chance to catch up. Doubt it, he nudged her. Don't want to be a professional beater, then? No chance, she laughed. You should see the state my brother's in, and he's only been professional for a few years. Wouldn't mind being the healer for the Cannons, though. Whatever team Potter gets drafted to, then I could still see you all after school finishes. We'll see each other anyway, Remus said. You can't get rid of us that easily. You're a sweetie, Remus, she elbowed him. Hey, I'm really looking forward to this party. Are the rumours true? Halloween 1976 was due to fall on a Sunday, and due to the nature of the evening, Hogwarts students were given the Monday off. This, in Sirius's mind, could not have been more perfect. The Marauders' parties had grown legendary in status, and there were whispers all over the castle speculating on what exactly the Fall Boys might have in store. There was mention of copious amounts of alcohol, potential fireworks. Remus heard one Hufflepuff who swore blind they'd smuggled in a real band, instruments and all. What do they think? Laughed James. I'm hiding them under my bed? They might be right about the fireworks, though. James, Remus groaned. You're a prefect. Exactly, he grinned, puffing out his chest. And I have the authority to sanction any celebrations I see fit. Remus had tentatively prodded Lily on this statement, not wanting to get James in trouble, but equally not wanting to see her humiliated either. Look, Remus, after 6 years, I'm learning to just go with the flow as far as you lot are concerned, she said, not looking up from her arithmancy charts. If Potter and Black want a party, they'll find a way. I'm just going to brush up on extinguishing spells and make sure no one gets hurt. Besides, and she did look up now, I think everyone needs a bit of cheering up. The war, you know. So that was that then. If Lily Evans was okay with a party, Remus supposed that he would have to be as well. Besides, it was partly to celebrate Sirius's birthday too, which fell on the following Wednesday. And you had to be capable of superhuman cruelty to deprive Sirius Black of a birthday celebration. This was a sore spot with Mary, who had been forgotten about twice now and was rapidly losing patience with her flighty, easily distracted boyfriend. The problem was, she seemed to think that Remus was the best person to vent about to it. "I'm not an idiot," she sighed, a few days after forgiving Sirius for his latest slide. Not after having charmed all of the goblets on the Gryffindor dining table to suddenly fling their contents into his face. "I knew what he was like before we started going out, and my auntie always says, you can't change a man." Remus replied, hoping this sounded caring and supportive. Evidently, it did, because she carried right on talking. "And you know, I like the fact that he doesn't follow the rules, and he doesn't care what anyone thinks. I do just sort of wish he cared what I think." "I'm sure he does," Remus mumbled. "He doesn't show it, though. And, actually, he's not the only good-looking boy at Hogwarts." She said this with a wry look on her face, as tall Ravenclaw's 7th year passed them. Roman rather-eyed. Remus had heard a lot of girls whispering about him. He had curly fair hair as long as Sirius's and dark brown eyes. Mary licked her lips, her own eyes following the older boy as he left the library. Remus slammed his book shut. "Shall we go?" Sunday, 31st October 1976. The afternoon of the party, Remus was lying in his bed with the curtains drawn, listening to Diamond Dogs for the 100th time, trying to avoid all of the nonsense going on downstairs. The girls seemed to have joined forces and turned the usually comfortable, slightly worn around the edges Gryffindor common room into a cross between a jumble sale and the Boots Cosmetics counter. He could practically smell the perfume from his bed, and it made his nose itch. They were getting ready, Mary and Marlene had told him. The Remus couldn't see what that meant exactly, except that it seemed to involve a lot of mirrors, a lot of giggling, and an ungodly amount of hairspray. James was trying out new beaters for the Quidditch team, and Remus assumed Sirius was with him. Peter was helping Desi choose a dress for the party, though Remus suspected this was just a cover story. A glance at the Marauders map told him that Peter Pettigrew and Desdemona Lewis were alone in the prefect's bathroom. Alone and exiled from the common room, Remus had considered the library, but Christopher was there, and it looked like he was sitting close to the entrance. A novice error, he got far better light near the back windows, which meant that Remus would have to say hello, and Christopher would give some cold shrug in reply, and eventually Remus was going to have to sort all of that out. But just now, he wasn't in the bloody mood, okay? Feeling sorry for himself, he reclined on the bed and raised his wand, lazily levitating the record out of his sleeve and onto the needle. He'd lugged the record player up from its usual spot on Sirius's shelf, and sat it on the end of his bed, hoping that with the bed curtains drawn, he could play it loud enough to drown out the high-pitched chatters drifting up the stairs.
In the year of the scavenger, the season of the bitch, sachet on the bobo, sorry to the ditch, just another future song, lonely little kids.
"Oh, hello," Sirius poked his head through the curtains. Remus sat up. "Hi," he replied, uneasily, slightly embarrassed, as if he had been caught doing something he shouldn't be. "Did you want your record player back?" "Nah," Sirius waved his hand. He opened the curtains further, in much to Remus's horror, climbed inside, crawling onto the bed. He settled down on his back beside Remus and listened to the record with him. They were quiet for a long while, both staring at the red canopy above them. Remus kept telling himself that Sirius was behaving perfectly normally. He lounged about on James's bed all the time. It meant nothing. Finally, much to his relief, Sirius spoke. "Broke up with Mary." "Ah, so that was all." Remus raised his eyebrows. "Really? Sorry about that, mate." He felt Sirius shrug beside him. "Nah, it's okay. Not like I was in love with her or anything." Plenty more fish in the sea. Yeah, Sirius chuckled. They both fell quiet again. Bowie's thin, sharp voice rattled between them. The first song ended, and the thunderous swell of Sweet Thing began. Love this track, Sirius commented. Remus murmured in agreement.
If you want it, more. Get it here, friend. Is a cheap thing, cheap thing.
We did it, Sirius said, suddenly. Me and Mary. You did? Oh. When? Over the summer. Once or twice since we've been back at Hogwarts. Right. Is that... that's not why she dumped you. No! Sirius scowled at him. Thanks for the vote of confidence, but I don't think I was that terrible. We just broke up. That's all. How was it? The breakup? No. How was... it? Sirius smiled enigmatically. Oh, yeah. It was good. Great. Not like I imagined, but... yeah, good. Well, good then. She's really gorgeous, Mary. Yeah, she is. Remember when we were kids, and we were convinced Bowie was a wizard? Sirius said. Remus smiled fondly at the memory. Yeah, I think I still sort of believe he is. One day, when we all live in London, we'll go and find him. Then we can ask. Remus burst out laughing. What? Sirius grinned back at him. You can't just meet someone like Bowie. Don't see why not. We could go to one of his gigs and find out where he lives. Have some imagination, Lupin. Once we're of age, we can do anything. Rebel Rebel started up next. It was practically Sirius's theme song by now. Anything, Remus smirked. You already think you could do anything. Calling me arrogant? Sirius narrowed his eyes. Sitting up. He was smiling. Remus smiled back. Going to deny it? He replied. Your ego is so big it has its own orbit. Hush! Your ego is so big, Remus continued, slyly. When you were doing it with Mary, you probably closed your eyes and imagined yourself. You wound me, Lupin. Sirius reached for a pillow and began to beat him with it. Remus kneed him in the shin, rolling over to try and stop Sirius's onslaught, but Sirius was quicker. Laughing, he clambered on top of Remus, forced him down, holding his wrist over his head. Ha! He cheered, triumphant. Apologise. No, Remus cocked an eyebrow and struggled to get free. Sirius was straddling him now and braced himself against Remus's movements, pushing back down. You can't escape, Sirius said. I've got you, Mooney. Their eyes met, and everything was different. Remus became acutely aware of the lack of space between them, every shape and angle of Sirius's body that was touching his own. He jerked upwards, deliberately, testing, and Sirius pushed back. Sirius, Remus whispered, tentatively, hearing the catch in his own voice. What are we doing? Shh, Sirius shook his head. Shh, Sirius said again, leaning forward now, letting go of Remus's wrists. In the quiet moments that followed, they lay breathless and tense. Then Sirius propped himself back up and climbed off, rolling over onto his back. They said nothing as they did up their trousers and straightened their clothes. Remus refused to be the first to speak. Got a bit carried away, Sirius said, clearing his throat. Remus blinked. Right, he swallowed, dryly. Sorry. What? No, it's okay. Sirius looked awkward. Remus had never seen him look so out of his depth before. I'm going to have a shower. Not long until the feast. Right, Remus nodded, watching Sirius carefully climb out of the bed and back through the curtains. He stopped and turned back quickly, looking slightly panicked. You won't tell anyone? Remus snorted and shook his head. As if I would. Sirius nodded and closed the curtain behind him. Remus flopped back on the bed, his mind still catching up. If he wasn't so confused, he'd be furious.